Got anxiety? Do you have doubts? Listen, you are not on your own. There's thousands of artists out there that I've spoke to and experiences that I've been through personally that says, look, it's not always as difficult as what you think or you presume to get over these things and to start enjoying what you're doing. So, I've got 15s. It's massively important to do like inventory stock checks, especially when I was tattooing for like full time. The last thing you'd want to be doing is running out, getting halfway through something. So even now, when I'm not even tattooing full time, I like to just go, make sure that, right, my eternal ink's running out. So you'll notice I've got multiples of everything. I ain't just got one, but I've got fucking everything. That's not just because I'm like a hoarder. Shading, see, magnum needles, I like to keep all the magnum needles in one little spot. 13s, 9s, 15s, 11. So I know that I'm well in front with all these. So I don't actually need a great deal with this order. I think if you get used to doing things a particular way, you're always like 1, 2, 3 steps in front. You're never flapping. And I'm good mates with a few artists that they're always running out of stuff. I've been getting tattoos and they've ran out of stuff. Or on my way, they've rang me saying, oh, Ben, have you set off yet? Do you mind fetching me this? I just think, why are you not like in front of things? My head would be thrashed if I run my business like that. And when you're first starting out, the mindset, it is, I dare say, one of the hardest things to actually get used to. In fact, let's have a little talk about that. Anxiety, self-doubt, because it's one of the biggest hurdles that a lot of artists face, especially at the beginning. There's loads of things that you can do to help. Yeah. For anybody that is struggling with anxiety, fear in the industry, do you fit in? Self-doubt, your abilities and things like that. Now, I'll be honest, I've never been like an anxiety sort of person, but I have self-doubt. I always look at my work after the fact and think, right, how could I improve that? But it's not from a self-doubt perspective. It's from a, I want to get better, but I don't have doubts before I'm starting a piece, if that makes sense. However, years ago, I did. I'd always doubt it. And it's hard to explain because obviously I've taught like hundreds of thousands of people how to tattoo now. If you're not familiar with who I am, I own Tattoo Method Pro. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, online tattoo school worldwide. There's thousands upon thousands of people that's been through the program, hundreds or thousands of artists that have opened studios around the world that started on my course. And I've spoke to quite a lot of them. It is such a common thing. I don't know whether it's just the industry, the type of person that wants to be an artist, that creative person, but it is a very, very common thing. Anxiety or self-doubt or a combination. They are two totally different things, but very similar in a lot of ways. It is a really common thing, and it's a massive problem if you don't know how to deal with it. You have got to learn to, I'm not going to say just get rid of it because that's an impossible task. I don't think that's achievable. You can't do that. But what you can do is learn to control it and understand it to a better level of thinking. Everybody's brains work different, and the way that we speak to ourselves and the way that we perceive things changes the chemical balance in your brain, I think. I've actually studied quite a lot into psychology. I'm actually certified array of areas. I've done NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I've done RTT, rapid transformational therapy, so I'm actually qualified to treat people for fears, phobias, anxiety, depression. I don't know whether you already knew that or not. If you're new to the channel, obviously you won't, but a lot of people think the tattoo industry is just full of idiots still. Look, it's not. Despite the way I look, the way that I speak, I'm a Yorkshire lad, I'm actually quite educated, believe it or not. So the way that people think, it does change. The way that you sit, if your body language is all scooped over, you're like in a weak position, it changes the way that you think. And it's understanding that if you change your body posture, if you change the way that you're speaking to yourself consciously, there's always going to be that self-doubt. There's always going to be a second person there saying, giving you that doubt, oh, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to fuck this up. Customer's not going to be happy. God, why are you having to do that? They're thinking of it. That voice will be there. But like at any muscle, the more you train it to respond the way that you want it, the better that muscle is going to become, the stronger it's going to become. And it kind of like overpowers the smaller voice, and it becomes smaller and smaller until it's basically non-existent. And the way that I found that you do that is almost like, it's not a trick, but rather than allowing the self-doubt to make you second guess or think that something's not going to be achievable or you're not going to reach the standard that you want. And I'm talking about, right, you're just about to start doing a tattoo, the self-doubt kicks in. Somebody's messaged you, oh, can you do this? The self-doubt kicks in. What you need to understand is that is natural. Look at that as a positive thing. It's your brain saying, we want this to be the absolute best that it can possibly be. Are you sure that you're up to the job? It's just making you aware of the possibilities and the outcomes. It's not saying this is you. Your brain will present you with an option. It's down to you which option you then choose. So naturally your brain gets into like an emotional state. I've got a book that I suggest everybody reads. If you've not already, it's not actually here, so I can't even show you the book. I will bob it up on screen. It's called Chimp Paradox. It is an absolute phenomenal book, and it explains kind of these points really, really well. It's too complicated for me to try and explain in one video, but it basically says you've got your person brain, which is your rational thinking, like your logical thinking. Right, this is what's happening. I need to do this, this, this. And then there's the chimp side. That's based on emotions, previous experiences. Like, it's not thinking, it just responds. And that's how we act as human beings. The majority of the time, it's the chimp part of the brain that's in control, and that's why we get into arguments. That's why we stress over things. That is stressing really going to fix problem? Well, no. And if we thought logically, we would never be stressed. But that chimp takes over. And the examples that they give in the book and the way that it's explained, it really breaks it down into like super simple terms. You literally can't not understand what they mean after you've read the book. So if you're wanting a read or something along those lines, really give that a read. I would highly recommend it. It's probably one of my most favourite books that I've ever read, Chimp Paradox. Like I say, there'll be a picture of it. But it explains it really, really well. So don't look at the self-doubt as a problem. Look at it as an option. It is just your brain saying, look, this could possibly be the outcome. So then you've got to say, yeah, thank you for that message. I'm aware of that now. And then I just want you to reassess the design. So whatever the person's messaged you about or they're coming in for, that anxiety is kicking in, that self-doubt starts kicking in, not a problem. Thank you, brain, for making me aware of it. I'm now going to look at design again and give myself an honest opinion. Is this within my comfort zone? Do I think I'm going to do a good job of this design? If the answer's no, seriously no, not just because of anxiety or self-doubt, genuinely, your skill and ability will not allow you to do that tattoo to that standard, then you don't do the tattoo because it could potentially hurt your career. If you look at the work and say, yeah, that is well within my ability, then you do it. And you do it to the best of your ability and make it as good as possible. But before you're booking that person in, if you've been through my course, my training, you will understand, look, even once we get to end of course, we're doing all the portraits and stuff like that. It's my recommendations for anybody just starting. And even if you've been going for some time, you should always be tattooing for those first few years within your comfort zone. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with this. Well, you need to push yourself. No, fucking hell, no, do your chuff. You're putting something on somebody for the rest of their life. If that goes wrong, you're not using these human beings as a guinea pig. You've got to know in your head, heart on heart, look, I'm going to do that tattoo and it's going to look mint. And when you've got that attitude and you're only saying yes to the tattoos that you think, I can do that level of work for a month. The following month, you're just going to increase size at tattoo, increase complexity, and you're going to look at them and say, yep, I can do that. The thing that builds confidence, the only thing that will build confidence is repetition of doing the task. That is it. There's nothing else that will build confidence. And you can hear all these, well, let's think about it. And no, until you're doing it, that is what will build confidence. And not just doing it once, it's called repetition. You have got to keep doing and doing. And if you keep doing things and getting a good result, what do you think that does for your confidence? It gets it through the roof. Anxiety, gone. Self-doubt, gone, because you have done the reps. On that note, I'm going to bring it to a close. Let me know what you think. If you're suffering from that, please It's easier said than done. I can sit here and tell you what to do, but I've been in your shoes. It is difficult. You've got to flick the switch. Don't let your head slow you down or stop you progressing. It is a serious matter, and I'll be honest, it's ruined a few people that could have been huge, and they've got in their own head, and it's made a massive impact on the business. Thank you so much for your support. I wish each and every one of you the best. If you've got any problems and you don't want to leave a comment or anything like that, listen, jump onto my social, give me a private message. If there's anything that I can help you with, I bend over backwards to try and help people. And there'll be thousands of people that would back up that claim. I don't just talk shit. I back it up and I jump in and help people where I can. That's just my nature. It's how I am. Show your support. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you hit the subscribe button, because that shows us that we're doing something right and we're going in the right direction. But other than that, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.